it going, everybody? So we've made it. It's the season 1 finale for the Wheel of Time. I've personally had a lot of fun just delving into this show as a new fan to the series and also just getting to know everybody in the fandom. But all good things must come to an end with the season 1 finale. After so much mystery this season trying to figure out who the Dragon Reborn was going to be among the group, we do find out that Rand is actually the Dragon Reborn as him and Moiraine set off through the Blight to face off against the Dark One. I have finally caught on to the fact that most of these episodes open up with some sort of flashback in some shape or form. It doesn't top last week's flashback. I think last week's flashback probably is the most epic flashback of the entire season, but I did think this one was very interesting because of the fact it does center around a previous dragon 3,000 years ago. It is a very interesting discussion on the future of the Aes Sedai, but also the fact that you want to cage up the Dark One, stop his influence, and just the conundrums if things go wrong. There's also a quick glimpse at what the world looked like 3,000 years ago at the end of this flashback, and it looks pretty futuristic. I do know the setting, or I guess the timeline, if you will, of the Wheel of Time stuff, because unfortunately that was something that was spoiled for me way back when I talked about the first 3 episodes, but it was still really cool to see. There's so much time in the show being spent on so many other characters besides him. I was very happy that we get so much more of Rand in the spotlight this week, getting that growth with him and also Moiraine as well, as they both are navigating through the Blight. From what we saw of the Blight at the very end of last week's episode, it looked pretty gross, but I didn't realize just how gross, dark, and twisted it was going to be. Like, we're seeing dead bodies that are left all around and just other gross, demented kind of stuff along the way. They did almost get me with a fake out, though. I do have to commend them for that because I don't know the source material. I haven't read the novels. So I was a little bit mildly shook when it seemed like Rand woke up from a dream and then Moiraine gets stabbed through the mouth from behind by the Dark One. Like, I know we've had a lot of visions, dreams, nightmares, all those things, so some stuff is very unreliable, but it did still, just seeing it kind of had me a little bit surprised. I'm a bit conflicted, though, about calling him the Dark One because I'm pretty sure he's not actually the Dark One, so we'll just call him the Man for this episode. Regardless of who this man is, though, whether he's the Dark One or not, just from his presence and his demeanor in this portion, kind of just shows how menacing he can be, consistently casting doubt in Rand's mind about the excursion, and even later on in the episode when they face off again, just sort of further hammering home the point that he is a very scary antagonist. I've had my fair share of bad dreams in my day where I've had to wake myself up from bad dreams, you know, pinch yourself so you wake yourself up, but Rand takes it to the whole nother level here, stabbing himself through the stomach with a sword to wake himself up from the nightmare. I mean, I think that's like the ultimate extreme way to try to wake yourself up from a bad dream. When we do cut back to everyone else in Valdara, there's really not too much for them to do, at least until the big battle that's coming with an army of Trollocs and Fain in the distance. Lan actually ends up leaving to go through the Blight to try and catch up with Moiraine and Rand when they get to the Eye of the World. It made me a little bit nervous after we saw what happens to people in the Blight. Thankfully, he does inevitably end up make it to the Eye of the World towards the end of the episode, but it is a bummer because of the fact he's going through the Blight the whole episode, he's not really in the finale all that much. When it comes to the big battle that we get in Valdara in this episode, I'm kind of mixed on it because there are some moments in this I think are really epic and awesome. Some really solid, fantastic fantasy action here, but then it gets shrouded by darkness and it's really hard to just tell what's going on. I think maybe that was a budgetary thing because the CGI on the Trollocs and the Fain aren't the greatest in this big epic battle. As the battle's raging on, we do see Pat and Fain finally show up, revealing as he was the guy that we saw last episode that I thought maybe looked like Matt. I guess it was kind of a big surprise that he was a dark friend, as him and these Fain are killing a lot of people, which Perrin ends up witnessing. I did find his final words to Perrin very interesting when it comes to the fact that the Trolloc attack at the very beginning of the series wasn't meant to kill them at all. It was actually meant to bring them to the Dark One. And then we don't see Pat and Fain for the rest of the episode. My personal favorite part of this entire battle sequence, though, I think is when all the women band together to use the one power to take on the big army of Trollocs coming at them. The entire portion of the action I thought was absolutely badass, except for the whole eyes burning out part. That part doesn't sound all that fun. It certainly doesn't look very enjoyable, as several members of the group end up getting their eyes burnt out and seemingly die along the way. I am glad that Egwene and Nynaeve end up surviving that part, since I was a little bit nervous for Nynaeve there for a little bit. When we eventually do make it to the climax of the episode, when Rand and Moiraine make it to the Eye of the World, I was a little bit nervous for them because I'm just not really sure how they were going to be able to handle this confrontation, because Rand really has next to no training when it comes to this stuff. And that concern was further enhanced when does show up and he has no problem trying to bring Rand to the darker side of things. And he also cuts Moiraine off from the source. And he did that like in the first couple seconds of them being there, so it doesn't like it was that difficult for him. As Rand has that internal struggle with the Dark One between choosing the light and dark, I do have to commend Moiraine's dedication to the mission, though, because if Rand doesn't choose the light side, she's just gonna slit his throat. Like, it's as simple as that. Obviously, Rand inevitably ends up choosing the light side, using that MacGuffin-looking thing to take on the Dark One. I don't remember what it was called. It's just a very clear MacGuffin for the episode. For this being round 1 of their battles, though, I think it went pretty well, as we do find out that Moiraine says this is only, like, the first of many battles they're probably going to have. So that's something to look forward to for future seasons, more rematches. There are several plot threads that are kind of left hanging in the balance, and I am very intrigued to see where we go with in Season 2. The fact that Moiraine is disconnected. Rand chooses to fake his own death and kind of go on his own journey, so that'll that'll be fun to explore. We do see Matt just for a brief scene that's obviously lifted from a previous episode, but he's on his own. And just seeing the aftermath of the Battle of Valdar with the rest of our characters, I did like the little stinger that we had at the end of the episode, even if I'm not completely sure about what it means, because I'm not, I don't know the stuff from the books. Maybe I missed something. So if you want to tell me about it in the comment section down below without spoiling stuff, feel free to. But yeah, cutting to the beach and all these ships with these crazy looking people on them channeling this giant massive wave from the ocean. That was pretty awesome. They are probably going to be some sort of threat, I imagine, and they look pretty strong. I don't know what's going to entail for the rest of our characters next season, but I'm looking forward to it. It's been a lot of fun getting into season 1 of the Wheel of Time with everybody kind of going on this journey, just going in blind. I really like what we've seen so far. I know there's been some criticism about the show from the book fans, but I've had a lot of fun with it because I don't really have that connection to that material. Maybe I will read some of the books in between the seasons just to get like a better idea of what's to come. We'll have to wait and see. I know they're filming season 2 of the Wheel of Time, so who knows when we're actually going to get it released on Amazon Prime Video. Make sure you share your thoughts down below. What did you think of the season 1 finale for the Wheel of Time? Did you like the finale, not like the finale? Are you excited for what's to come in season 2? Not excited? Either way, share all your thoughts down below. It's part of the fun is having the conversation with you guys in the comments section. As always, make sure you leave a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you update me reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.